Okay, the name of the podcast is Fat Mascara. Obviously, we, the hosts, get asked all the time about false eyelashes, how to apply them, what's the trick? I mean, they are hard. But you know what I'm doing from now on, Jess? I'm just going to point the people to Impress Press-On Falsies. They're so much easier. You don't even need to learn tricks and steps. They're so easy.
Forget tricks. You don't even need glue, Jen. No glue is needed thanks to Impress's innovative breakthrough pre-bonded technology. You just pop the little lash clusters underneath your natural lashes in one easy step. Just press them, and then go. Each starter kit includes a nonstick applicator tool and 20 clusters in both medium and long lengths.
And there's different styles, natural, voluminous, spiky. Get one that's right for you. Get yours today at impressfalsies.com/fatmascara and use the code FATMASCARA to receive 25% off all Impress Falsies press-on products. That's impressfalsies.com/fatmascara and make sure to use the code FATMASCARA at checkout. Now everyone can lash.
Oh my God. FM Book Club live. What kind of live? Pre-recorded, but just for your ears only.
The live album. Hi, I'm Jen. Welcome to Fat Mascara.
I'm Jessica. Okay, we've got Marisa Meltzer and her dog Joan in the house. If you couldn't make it to our FM live book club
streaming, which was streaming on September 27th, we recorded this in the evening. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you've got a second shot. You got a second shot, and it's right now. We had so much fun. Thank you for came. If you're coming here now, so glad you're here. Even if you didn't read the book, Glossy, it doesn't matter. You don't even have to crack the spine. You will be able to enjoy this conversation. Jen, what did we talk about?
We talked about Glossy, ambition, beauty, and the inside story of Emily Weiss's Glossier. Marisa gave us a little bit of a scoop on some ex-Glossier employees that reached out to her after the book made the New York Times bestseller list. So that's very interesting. But if you're not familiar with Marisa or her work, she's written for the New York Times, the New Yorker, the Guardian, the Wall Street Journal, Vogue, Vanity Fair, all these places. She's also the author of 3 previous books. This is Big, How Sassy Changed My Life, and Girl Power. And yeah, this was recorded live, like fun. People were in the chat the whole time talking. So you might hear us typing here and there back to people. Marisa stopped to talk to a couple of people. She also stopped to give her dog a peanut butter treat. You know, we wanted to keep it fun and casual. So I apologize in advance if the sound is not up to the usual quality of a Fat Mascara in studio live podcast moment. But it was so much fun. And we so appreciated having her here. Let's just go to the book club, shall we?
Let's do it.
Marisa, welcome. Welcome to Fat Mascara.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here with my Fat Mascara family.
Where's your dog?
She's literally right underneath me, napping. You will probably hear her like rolling around or trying to get attention at some point because
she's so cute.
I know, she's very cute. She knows it.
I love seeing her on your Instagram.
Mm-hmm. She's the best.
Well, now she belongs to a New York Times bestseller. Hello.
Oh,
congratulations.
I'm not sick of hearing that. Thank you. It's amazing. Yeah.
You can never get sick of that. Okay, we're going to get to your book in a moment. But first, before we get into the book club of it all, we need to know a little bit more about you. You're a prolific journalist. Oh my God, I've read you on like ballet flats, ketamine, fashion, beauty, profiles. But like, what do you like writing about? What's your favorite thing to write about?
Oh gosh. I mean, probably like a spa trip where I just have to write 500 words.
Who doesn't want that assignment?
Thank you for your honesty.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's probably the most fun. However, there is no free lunch. I think that like from a technical standpoint, I love writing profile where you don't have a lot of time with a celebrity where there's a lot of pressure just because it's hard to make magic out of 1 hour having lunch with someone. I wish there were still like the 90s where they fly you to like LA for 2 weeks to hang around Julia Roberts or something like that. But I thrive under pressure and I like a sort of technical thing. But anything where you're traveling and the job is to just like soak it up and experience it, even if it's somewhere like I've taken a couple cruises for work and I don't think I would do that on my own, but it's still pretty major.
Oh, but you work well on a deadline. Obviously, you put this book together quite quickly. Let's talk
Well,
about it.
I think the secret is that I don't have rich family or husband. Like I have to pay my own rent. People are like, "Why do you write so much?" And it's like, yeah, because I have bills to pay.
A sense of urgency. It's an actual job. It's not a.
I have a bulldog and I love buying shoes. So yes.
So the book is out. There was conversation about the book before it came out. There was rumblings, there was whisperings. Then Jen and I talked about the book. And when Jen and I got the book and just posted it, oh my God, we got texts, we got emails, we got requests to be like, it was like a lending library that didn't happen.
Our galleys, like our preview galleys.
Yeah. People were like, so I got a text. I'm sure that there have been requests, but can I put my name on to borrow it? I'm like, it comes out in like 2 months. Now that the book is out in the world, what has the response been?
I mean, part of that is I'm pretty good at boundaries and like not reading comments and stuff like that. So I'm only really hearing what people are DMing me on Instagram or emailing me or like saying to my face, basically. Like I'm too smart and also too fragile to read Goodreads reviews or Amazon or watch TikToks or whatever. So I would say that the feedback has been great. I mean, people seem to be entertained by it, which is really what I want. They also seem like they are thinking about Glossier and beauty and Emily Weiss in ways that they hadn't ever before. I got a wonderful email from the people from Out at the Gloss today, which is like this kind of collective of retail employees that sort of did this kind of attempted cancellation sort of issues with working at Glossier in, I want to say like 2020. And they would not respond to my request for an interview for the book and really hadn't done press. And then today, I can read the email. It was very nice. I don't think they had really read the book yet, but they were sort of like, we are very aware of it.
You mentioned them in it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a whole section. But basically, they said that they disbanded and we literally couldn't afford to focus on it anymore. So we collectively stepped back. Of course, we've seen the viral TikTok and press for Glossy. We figured we missed an email from you and are kind of kicking ourselves, but still wanted to send our congratulations. Some of us are looking forward to reading it. Others still have a pretty strong aversion to the company, but frankly expect to get updates anyway. The rest have simply moved on.
Okay.
Thank you for that update.
Yeah.
Let's hope everybody read carefully so they know what we're talking about. But Glossy, Ambition, Beauty, and the Inside Story of Emily Weiss's Glossier touches on the rise of Glossier and these employees that you talked about and how there was a bit of a backlash in 2020, some of the issues with the company, all of that. So I feel like we should just get into it. But I have to ask, just like as a consumer, Marisa, what's your relationship with Glossier today? Do you like, so one of our listeners, Barbara, she might even be in the chat. She was like, do you wear the products? I want to know too.
I wear some of them. Yeah. I think writing a book, you have to have such a geeky and prolonged interest for something that if I didn't have a certain amount of fandom, it would be sort of an excruciating process. But also you can't be such a fan that you can't be critical or objective, I think. So I think my relationship to their products are similar. Like I have some that I like and I have some that I don't like at all. I love the perfume. I love layering the perfume. Like the layered with like Kiehl's musk, I think is a very, very
nice combo.
Like killer combo. Yeah.
Ooh, musk it up. I like that.
Yeah. It's kind of like two versions of musky.
Yeah.
And they're both kind of sexy. What else? I like the cloud paint a lot. I'm very pale and I use Puff, which is like their very light pink. And I think it's like a beautiful flush.
I don't know how anyone could ever use more than like one cloud paint in their whole life though, because I feel like you need just so little of it.
Okay, but here's the thing. So much comes out. I don't know.
No, that's
They
true.
need to kind of figure out how to get it back in. Like you try to put the teeniest dot and it's like a glob.
It grows like that volcano science experiment from when you were little, you know, like where it's just.
Yeah,
it's still
I end up
coming out.
kind of just like wiping it off onto a Kleenex and throwing it away or whatever.
I really like it, but yeah, a lot does come off.
Yeah.
So you use the products, it sounds like. You are a fan.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't use a lot of the products. I mean, I use a lot of products and Glossier's like in the rotation, but it's also, I'm 46 years old. Like I'm not really using Glossier for my skincare. Do you know what I mean?
I understand.
I think their products are beautiful and basic, but I'm at a point where I'm like, let's get some really good vitamin C serums. And
you want some killer actives, but you're not like the demo for Glossier, I don't think, right? Like it's more like
it's a little younger. Like if I'm traveling, I love to get their travel size Milky Jelly cleanser. That's a beautiful, easy, takes everything off well. But like give me like a sleep mask, give me like a tinted sunscreen.
Are you going to tell us which sleep mask and which tinted sunscreen? I mean, this is usually what happens at the end of the podcast, but I have to ask.
No, I'll tell all of these things. I'm not actually using a sleep mask, but I rotate between a few different Rationale moisturizers that I love.
Okay.
And I use the light cream at night a lot, and then I use the gel cream in the day a lot. But I tend to also mix all that stuff up depending on the weather and what's going on outside. And then sunscreen, I love Herborian, that French Korean line. They have a really nice one that's like green tinted for people like me that are very prone to redness.
Yes, I know that product. That is a good one.
Mm-hmm. They sell it at all the duty frees in Europe. So I'll go and buy 2 or 3 and be done for the year.
So when we talk about Glossier, I think everyone has an image that comes to mind or a feeling that comes to mind if you're into beauty. I'm going to put this question to you, but I want to put it also out to the folks who are listening or following along live. What word comes to mind? Just drop it in the chat. And Marisa, I'll give you a second to think about it.
I mean, the first word that comes to mind for me is dewy. I'm going to, by the way, because we are live, I'm getting peanut butter from my crazy dog who is requesting it from me, but I can still talk and hear you as I go to the other side of my kitchen and serve.
She's going on a peanut butter journey.
And serve my insane dog peanut butter because she knows if I don't give it to her now, she can start barking and I'll do anything she wants.
She's trained you well, Marisa. Jess, what was your word going to be while we wait for peanut butter treats?
Well, it was a visual first. It was just that Pantone, like light pink.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so pink.
Glossy, hashtag Glossier pink. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was pink.
I like your, what is this, a Rorschach? It's like a psychological test you just gave us, Jess.
I think the brand is kind of like a
What? No, I'm back. No, I said dewy.
No, did she pass the psychological test? What word comes to mind?
Well, in the chat we have...
Yes.
Okay, Hillary says, when I first became a customer, I would have said cool and very young. Oof. Oh, sick burn.
No, I say dated
it says
and
cool
too
and
young.
very Emily, and now it says dated and too young.
Ooh.
Okay, no, but I get it. And then Barbara says sheer. Everything is so sheer. Olivia says, my word for Glossier is light, both in terms of mood and terms of quality and texture. Yeah, I think that's the other. I had a second. Okay, so I get a second shot. My second shot was also just kind of like, I guess kind of dewy, but like it was more like sheer, like kind of wispy, like translucent.
Yes.
Catherine says, oh God, my word is basic. But then Georgina says it's very it. So it's polarizing.
Well, yeah, I think that like the consensus is sort of like there's a lightness in kind of every sense of the word where it's not heavy, but it's also light and that it's a little fluffy.
Yeah, innovative.
Yeah, like but it's also maybe light on the innovation.
Oh no, Brenna just said innovative.
Jess is literally just reading you the chat.
No, sorry. No, but I think these are fascinating because you have like the very best words and the most complimentary. And then you also have people who are, Hillary's saying she's aged out.
For our recorded listeners, just so you know, in case you forgot, this is live and we have a chat going on. So
they know. They know. No, but this is real time. It's just like, I think what's interesting about any really good brand, it evokes a lot of strong opinions.
Yeah, that it means they're doing their job. Wait, Jen, did you say what yours is?
What's yours?
Clearly, I failed psychology. Glossy was the word that came to mind. It's like cheating. Sorry.
Well, the orderlies are coming to take you away. You failed
What is
the
this? It
Rorschach
probably
test.
means that I have like an IQ of 10 that I just, what do you think when you say Glossier? And I say Glossier. I'm so sorry. But the pink is really what comes to mind because I do think the whole brand was the start of the girl boss era, the millennial pink of it all, the wing, so many things that happened in like the mid 2010s. And I equate a lot of them with this brand and the people that are around it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like part of the problem is that we are so visual right now that just things that feel kind of cool just get so bored to our eyes, and we're just inundated with things on TikTok and Instagram and wheat pasted posters in my neighborhood that like an aesthetic of something like Glossy that feels right at one moment starts to be so overused and saturated that it's so fast that it starts to feel dated. Like I was in, I don't know, a few weeks ago in Sephora and every line looks like Glossier and they all look the same. And it's not untrue, but it's also like it would have taken a really long time for that to happen, even 10 years ago, let alone when I was in college or high school.
The speed in which it influenced other brands and just sort of culture was phenomenal. It's just in like design and clothes and plants and it's insane. But another thing I want to ask you is when I was reading your book and I look at all the conversation in the press around your book right now, I think of the Mean Girls meme. There's so many, but the one in particular, it's Regina George saying to Katie, "Why are you so obsessed with me?" Why are so many people still obsessed with Emily Weiss? She has moved so far on. She's had a great
So
run.
I'm Katie and Emily is Regina George in this scenario.
Yes, I'm not making you Katie.
No, I don't mind. All I ever want to be is Lindsay Lohan, so I'm fine with that.
I mean, it's not a bad comparison. I mean, sort of the culture. I'm putting I was like, oh my God, Fat Mascara book club tonight. Like so excited to talk about this. So I'm putting myself in that too.
For sure. I imagine if Emily is paying attention to this rollout, and it would be hard to ignore. She probably, I still watch her Instagram stories. She probably is like, why is this woman so obsessed with me to a certain extent? And those are the moments when I feel like, am I a creep? And then I have to remind myself that I am a writer and I'm trying to write this story that's about feminism and business, an industry that's huge that no one except for kind of insiders really even understood how powerful it was for years. And also that she got almost $300 million of funding, which is not something that just happens to you by accident.
Yeah.
And also the book is a literal bestseller. People want to have that.
We're not the only ones obsessed. Yes.
Yeah. And also we don't have stories about current companies unless it's something like Bad Blood and it's about an actual criminal, or it's some kind of self-helpy book about women in business. And it's these stories should be told and there should be more of them.
Meaning women in business. There should be more books.
Yeah, women in business and also businesses like beauty that aren't sort of taken seriously on a kind
1,000%.
of business side. There were actual questions in designing the book cover of okay, if we have a pink cover that looks great and speaks to fans, are we just giving up on whether men will read the book?
Oh.
And Walter Isaacson had to have that conversation with a big picture of Elon Musk's face.
Or the Apple book looks like an Apple store. Yeah. And it's neutral.
Yeah.
But there's no roadmap for young women who want to be powerful in beauty or fashion. I think so often it's like this kind of fairy story, or they become an influencer, or they become someone plucks them from obscurity. She really did build she had a very clear vision and she built a killer business. And obviously there were a ton of articles on her. It's not that she was like under, like reported on, but I think people are looking to learn about how she did it. And I think your book did at least like go under the hood and talk about the actual business of it in a different way. So that's why I appreciated it.
I mean, I think for someone, I think that the kernel of all of this started probably similar to you in that I had been working in media and understood the way that beauty was so powerful, just even in advertising in women's media. And also Dior is making its money off of mascara and not couture dresses or even saddlebags. Mm-hmm. But that is not something that's widely understood. And I became so obsessed with as beauty was becoming this kind of cultural force of YouTube influencers doing makeup and the Kardashians and Jenners starting their lines and all of that. And people were talking about beauty. They still weren't really understanding the full kind of economic power of beauty. And I think I really like crossed over into being like, I have to write a book when I was reading like a Forbes list of the 10 richest self-made women or something. And like 6 of them, over half, it was because of, or at least partly because of beauty. Mm-hmm. Rihanna made her billions because of Fenty, not because of not putting an album out for like the past 7 years or however long it's been.
Yeah, it's something that people discount a lot.
Well, it's good to be in a space like here where people probably actually don't discount it. We're in like a circle. We're in a safe space and a circle of trust where I don't actually have to convince people of that.
So when I think about the time that Glossier came about, people touched about it in the comments where maybe the times have changed. It was in a different lens. But when Glossy came about, it was definitely like the 2010s, right? For me, when I think of Glossy, peak Glossy to me is 2016.
Boy brow,
Hillary for president.
Isn't that when Emily was on our podcast? That might have been 2016.
I think it was 2017, but doesn't matter. But around that time, okay, that's when I think about peak Glossier. That was also very much like the time of the girl boss. Why does that term feel so cringy to so many people right now?
I think it felt cringy at the time, to be honest. I don't know that anyone was really saying, I'm a girl boss and proud of it.
Claire. We used that on every cover during 2016. I was working at Mary Claire at the time. It was like, badass and girl boss. My editor-in-chief did not think it was cringy. But I know what you mean.
But I thought it was definitely, or a little like tongue-in-cheek, because I was very aware that there was no boy boss. I was always like the only person that's really, really benefiting from this is Sophia Amoruso, who wrote the Girl Boss book and is like taking it all the way to the bank. But yeah, so there was this cohort of women and they were all founding companies that kind of combined feminism and products for women and maybe a little bit of tech. And they were all pretty beautiful and young and kind of socially, kind of all were a little bit connected to each other and sort of socially important people, I guess I would say. And they also had publicists that they paid to try to get them into publications. And Girl Boss became an easy sort of, I don't know, like slang or like name for that cohort of women. And whether or not they wanted to be called that or not, it was also a way to kind of be taken seriously on a certain level because it was about business. It wasn't really about their personal lives so much. And it helped them probably until it stopped helping them. And then one by one, like so many things, they faced sort of cancellations or stepping down from things ranging to like real bad behavior, like Sophia Amoruso's company settling over false, firing people and to things that were more leaked messages from Away's Slack that revealed kind of a less than ideal working environment.
The Thinks controversy, the Wing. I mean, that's to see how far the Wing fell. Anyone here is listening and knows about the Wing. That was like the place to work. I mean, I'm saying knows about it. I mean, it's like a huge story. To be the place to be a member of. And then it was like the fact that the Wing is like such a relic now is so crazy.
Oh, for sure. Were you guys members?
I was not a member, no.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, or Ty Haney, who's still very much in the news.
Outdoor voices, yeah.
Now I think about girl bosses in terms of like the negative space.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we focus so much on this group of women, and what weren't we looking at in terms of them? But also we weren't looking at women that didn't live in New York and LA, essentially. We weren't looking at women who weren't in kind of like sexy consumer facing companies, like someone who founded like a B2B tech company or whatever. Yeah. We weren't looking at women who didn't hire probably stylists and definitely like public relations people to get them on the cover of Time and Fortune and whatever. We weren't looking at women that couldn't fit into designer clothes or like had no interest in that, or who didn't want to go to charity dinners or be photographed in front of Balthazar or whatever. And so I think that to me is an important thing to think about, that even though there was at the time people going, oh, these are all a bunch of white ladies or whatever, I don't think we were fully thinking about what a slim slice of entrepreneurship it was. But it was also kind of one of the first times that women founders were like a business pop culture thing. The way that like Richard Gere's like corporate raider kind of character in Pretty Woman was like an archetype, and Wall Street Bros were an archetype.
Like I know who
and
Lee
like,
Iacocca is. Why do I even know that?
Yeah,
you know?
Like tech founders were an archetype, and now we have crypto bros and stuff like that. We didn't have a lot of chance for like women other than the sort of Diane Keaton, like baby boom working woman kind of person. But even then that was so vague. So we had these.
Wait, was that a She's Having a Baby reference?
No, Baby Boom.
Baby Boom.
Movie.
Oh, Baby Boom. That's right.
Baby. I was thinking of a like sort of a cross between Working Girl and Baby Boom.
I have a Baby Boom fantasy like once a week where I just go to Vermont.
Is that the one making applesauce in Vermont?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay. I love that movie.
Yeah.
Every time pumpkin spice comes up, I picture that movie. I literally think that movie got to me in New York. I was like,
it's like the most fall movie ever. In fact, we should probably do a group watch along for.
Oh my God. Now that would be the Fat Mascara Film Club that we need to start. But you mentioned, girl boss, like, the idea, the kind of little hashtag girl boss, really insulating women like Emily from having to talk about their private life and sort of being taken more seriously as I'm a boss, I'm a business person. Like, this isn't like influencer cutie pie stuff. She was very guarded in all your interviews. You got to make a frittata with her. It sounds like it took 40,000 emails to set that up. And then ultimately a lot of the stuff she told you was off the record, right? What was going on about that?
I think she's very good at I think this is a sports term, so I'll always get it wrong, but like running down the clock or something like that. She would say yes to an interview, and then you'd get there, and 2 minutes in, she'd be like, I just want to talk off the record and like next time. And it's like, I flew to LA for this. My best friend is getting married in 2 hours, and I'm coming all the way here to do this, and you're what? And I think that was part of a larger issue of me taking this project and the book very seriously, and her kind of being like, I was surprised. I didn't think this would happen.
Do you think she didn't think that this was like a real thing?
Or was she super strategic and she was like, oh, I'll just give her the runaround?
Probably both, if I'm being honest. I think that when I first started talking about the book, it was in a slightly different form where it was going to be more broadly about beauty. So I think she was probably like, sure, fine, I'll give you an interview. It was also in the middle of the pandemic. And so I imagine that she and the company had a ton of stuff that they were dealing with that was like higher on their minds. So I had been someone that had been reporting on them for years, so they probably were like, of course we're going to give this woman an interview. And then I thought I was being pretty clear, keeping them in the loop, being like, okay, well, the book is very much about Glossier now. And they kept saying yes to interviews, but then I think all of a sudden when the book cover was announced and there was an article about it on Business Fashion, it was sort of like, you're doing what? I'm in what? And then to me, a lot of that playing out the clock sort of stuff was, I think, more strategic.
This is for questions in the chat. Do you think maybe she's going to be working on her own book? Do you see that happening from her?
Maybe eventually. I don't think that that's her next chapter. Again, like this is not based on any kind of insider knowledge,
this is,
based on, but I think she will do something in the parenting space. I feel like that's, did you hear that? Did you hear this?
Oh, we can hear your dog the whole time.
Yeah, can you hear this animal?
He gave a thumbs up to the parenting space. He was like, that's it. You guys are right.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm going to get her another snack because this woman is terrible. This woman, by the way, meaning not Emily, but rather Joan, my angry bulldog.
Her name's Joan, your dog?
Her name is Joan, yeah.
Love her. Okay, let's get Joan a
I
snack.
love her too, I love her, but she sometimes takes crazy moments to suddenly be extremely high maintenance and want my attention.
And or give us the insider scoop. She agrees. She's going to move into the parenting space.
Animals are very intuitive.
They are very intuitive. Joan does not like the idea of anyone moving into the parenting space. Joan wants to be the baby. But yes, I do think that Emily will move into the parenting space. That would be my guess.
The way you said that sounded like a psychic. It was like, I do think that Emily will.
I'm seeing.
I get the Ouija board out and it says M. M. And then I just look and there's like thunder and lightning. Joan barks.
She has showed us a lot of her body in her birthing pool on Instagram, so I don't think this is out of left field to have this idea.
I don't think that's. I think that's an interest, and I don't see her doing kind of a Bobbi Brown and doing like another beauty company.
Yeah,
and I could see her maybe doing a book way late in her career.
As an interviewer, I love that you mentioned Janet Malcolm in your book, and you talked about, you have to interview somebody. You have to be objective, but you're still a subjective, heartfelt person. Let's talk about the tears. I feel like she cried a lot. You literally started the book, Emily Weiss was crying. And then it came up a bunch. And then third-party sources, people were talking about meetings where she was crying. Do you think that was a manipulative tactic? Or am I reading into it?
I think it is. It's hard for me because I am not a person that cries easily. So if I cry, I'm truly overwhelmed or bereft or something. I cry like a handful of times a year at the most. And so for me, when I'm around someone that cries easily, it's pretty disturbing or at least like rough, because I just assume that must mean that they too are having just as an emotional of an experience as I would be having if I were crying. But then I have to remember that people who cry all the time, I don't know, like I laugh all the time or whatever, or I drink wine several days a week, like it's not a special occasion. People that cry all the time, it's not necessarily the same like huge issue.
Right.
And also, she acted in high school. She has a little bit of a flair for that kind of thing. And so I just think that she's probably a person whose emotions are closer to the chest than maybe me or some other people that don't cry as easily. Mm-hmm. But also, I think she knows how to wield it. Like if you are interviewing someone and you're the CEO of the company and they're interviewing for like a middle management job or whatever, and in the middle of their interview, you, the CEO, starts crying, talking about how important the business is, you might get them for less money, or like you might get them for, you know what I mean? Like there are definite advantages to
plug in your computer, Marisa. I feel like your battery's low.
It's plugged in. No, it's plugged in.
Okay.
I'm just trying to keep my dog from barking at you guys again. But yeah, so I think that crying can be emotion, but it also can be something to make people's defenses go down.
Okay, guys, if you've ever had unprotected sex, forgot your birth control, had a condom break, or you're just not sure, we are so excited to talk to you about a new company that is giving emergency contraception a much-needed rebrand. It's Julie, an FDA-approved morning after pill that helps stop a pregnancy before it even starts.
Jen, I have a memory from when I was younger of going to get birth control with my friend, and we still like kind of laugh and shudder about it because it was so unpleasant. Thank gosh in 2023, we have Julie. Julie stops your body from releasing an egg using the same active ingredient as Plan B or other morning after pills. Essentially, Julie works by preventing or delaying your ovulation. With no egg, there's no fertilization and therefore no pregnancy. And it's no risk to your future fertility.
It also works best when taken right away or within 72 hours of unprotected sex. Right now, Julie is offering our listeners $10 off your online purchase. Go to juliecare.co/mascara to get $10 off your online purchase for a limited time. That's juliecare.co/mascara. Or if you need Julie right away, you can find it at your nearest CVS, Target, or Walmart today. I just say I am so happy that Jess and I have discovered Quince and discovered it for you too, the Fat Mascara listeners. This is truly the place to get your entire fall and winter wardrobe upgraded, but with pieces that you'll wear again and again.
Jen, I know we have a laugh about the trend cycles of beauty, and I know that I feel like last year I was teasing you a little bit when you bought a lot of like trend items. By the way, they looked good. I really did love that vest. But when we're talking about items that are going to stand the test of time, Quince has it all. I recently got a pair of really cute, stretchy cotton pants that are going to go with everything. Little wide leg, very fashion, but totally classic. $50. Actually, a few cents less.
I love that. There's also a fisherman sweater, a cotton fisherman sweater. I'm going to wear this truly every other day. I cannot wait. Fat Mascara listeners, do you want to take the drama out of planning outfits? Yes, you do. Upgrade your closet today with Quince. Go to quince.com/fatmascara for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's quince.com, QUINCE.com/fatmascara and get free shipping and 365-day returns. Again, quince.com/fatmascara.
Jen, I love when I'm going to a wedding and I know that the people getting married are using Zola.
Yes. And you know right away because the save the date's there. It's all easy. I just went to a wedding. The couple used Zola and they even had a registry for like a no-fee cash fund. But they said in the little description that they were going to use the money to put together a garden in their new home. So I felt like I was like part of building their home together. And another good thing about Zola, if you're a guest, you don't have to bug them with all your questions. How annoying when you were a bride, when everybody was like texting you 2 days before, where am I supposed to be when? What time is this? What should I wear? If you use Zola, it's all there for them.
Oh my gosh, the details of like the bus and the hotel and I can't. I was just go to the website. You could say just go to the website. Thank you, Zola. I love that it also allows you to browse the couple's wedding website and learn about their personal story, maybe how they met, introduction to the wedding party. Super cute. I'm sorry, but I love that stuff.
Listen, when you're getting married, it's not just about the big day. It's about all the days along the way. And Zola's here for all of them. Start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com. Again, Zola.com. Make your life easier. Make your guest's life easier. It's great. I mean, I got that sense reading it, and you even had a couple sentences where I was like, "Oh, Marissa's with me. Like she's pulling one over on us. This is one of her tactics that has worked for her before." So I was curious.
I agree.
About that.
I mean, I think that she probably also is someone that she gets. Some people have a nervous laugh. Other people cry really easily. Like it probably is something that comes easily to her, but.
One of our listeners, Alana, had a question she sent me ahead of time. She was saying, what's the most surprising yet insightful tidbit you came across while reporting? I don't think she's asking for like dirt. It's more just like what didn't make it in the book that you wish could have made it in the book.
Oh, that's hard. There were some things that didn't make it past the legal read. Let's just say that. So I wish I could say. I'm trying to think of some things that were surprising. I really loved hearing from the younger employees, in particular the retail employees, because they had such a different experience. Like the ones that went to Camp Glossier and were like, oh, it was kind of embarrassing. She tried to talk to us. It was a little like Gen Z versus millennials.
Yes, I got embarrassed, secondhand embarrassment reading that scene. Like, I think I would be that lady at camp that like was going around and
no, me too. I too would like, I mean, her doing
she's like, what's up, kids?
Like 7
cool.
Yeah, totally. Or like doing all 7 minutes or whatever of Bohemian Rhapsody at like karaoke
excellent
night.
tidbit.
Like that's
made it in the book, but excellent tidbit.
Oh
yes.
yeah, that's a choice.
Okay, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I didn't mind that she did that. Sorry. Like, I think that was fine.
Again, like none of this is.
I don't know. Like, I thought that was like she was trying to bond with her team. They set up this nice thing.
I agree.
I don't know. Like, I'm sorry.
I am not a karaoke person. So I think if you choose a song that's longer than like 3 or 4 minutes.
Maybe she had a glass of wine. Maybe.
No, we've been there.
I don't know. I'm just like, when it comes to like being overly enthusiastic about something you love, I'm kind of here for it.
Okay. Which is why it's surprising, because she is a little bit the cool girl. But then once you see her taking in this position where more and more people are seeing her as the boss and they're younger. And so she's doing the kinds of things that people cringe about of your bosses. Yeah.
I don't think it's a gender thing either. I think when you become a leader, you have to have that separation. I don't think.
But I don't know. Like, I remember being at things where my boss would do something that was human and I would like them more. I'm not like, oh, I need to see Susan.
Was it a boss? It was a boss you liked already. And this made them even more
I don't know,
likable.
Jess, are you the kind of person that got excited if you saw one of your teachers from like growing up at like the supermarket? Whereas I was always the person that was like, oh my God, I gotta run. Like,
no, I thought it was kind of like cool seeing them outside. Weird, cool.
No, I was like, don't talk to me. I can't handle this different. It's hard for me sometimes to see people to this day outside
people
of
have
like
different dimensions. I don't know. I thought those anecdotes were kind of mean.
Yeah, but I think that also, I mean, I agree, but I think that also shows what it's like to be seen more as a boss than one of everyone else, and a growing company where not everyone kind of knows you the same way.
Yeah.
And also a woman trying to be friendly and your whole company is in one place for like one time in 1 year, and you're trying to be friendly and say hey, and the way people can just be assholes and catty no matter what you do or what you know, you can't win.
It's like, I mean, I feel like this is like the most cliche thing to say, and it's like the Barbie movie monologue. It's like she's trying to be a boss, but she has to be nice, but not too nice. It's like,
yeah, it's like you have to be a boss, but you also have to be a girl boss, but you can't be a boss bitch because you can't, that's too bitchy and like.
But like she has to be like with the people. She can't be too icy, but she has to be like, it's just like you cannot win.
I think you did a great job of using those anecdotes to paint that challenging rise, because you had to build up, show how the company built up, and ultimately was at these business challenges of plateauing and how that felt for her who started the company. And I kind of want to talk about this plateau of Glossier a little bit, because, you know, this is the basis of the book. Where is the company now? I know in late 2022, you asked a rep, oh, what are sales figures like? I love the answer they gave you. We're driving 20 to 40% growth. I was like, what? That's like Vegas. Obviously, they're not going to give you those numbers. But like, have you heard anything since? Is the company plateauing?
I mean, what I've heard from hardcore finance people that have reported on retail is like, if a company is not giving you figures, it always means that they are losing money.
Yes.
I have to think that must be true.
There were some other details they gave you, like, we're spending less on marketing, like giving you everything but the answer you asked for.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm sure like you, I've been to the stores. There's always a ton of people. I've been to their Sephora gondolas many times, and they always are like ransacked. And I've had a conversation about this with many people that are interested parties. And I really can't tell if, for Sephora, for instance, if they just didn't anticipate its popularity or if they on purpose under ordered to have it sort of a manufactured desire or what? You hear about companies doing that all the time.
I worked at Sephora, not at Sephora. It's literally the nightmare when the stock runs low. Yeah.
So I don't know. And I don't know that even on like a Sephora earnings call or something, for example, that we would get that. I don't even know if Sephora has an earnings. Yeah, I don't know that we would even get that kind of information unless Glossier was like such a driver of sales for them. But I think that they are trying to put the company in as good of a light and in front of enough people and to shine it all up to be acquired for as much money as they can get it, knowing that they missed.
IPO.
It's a bad time to IPO. Find me like a beauty company that's had a good IPO. I think acquisition is better, but it's not like the drunk elephant, Charlotte Tilbury, moments of like before the pandemic. So they have so much funding that it's not like their VCs are going to be like, yeah, no problem. Just grow at your own rate for a while. See how it goes.
But was it ultimately 300 million?
I think it's like 260 million. I want to
with
say,
like 4 rounds of funding. Yeah.
They finished off in a Series E. Is the most recent
I don't know what
number
in the alphabet that is, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
5. Yeah.
It's funny you bring up Sephora.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring up Sephora because a lot of people wrote us. I think I even just saw it in the chat here that like that was a sign to them. Whereas other brands will see that as a sign of success. For Glossier, it was a sign of plateau. Now you're basic.
Yeah. I mean, mostly I just think it was really, really, really late to happen. I mean, the thing is that, and I think that now with a little bit of hindsight, we can see how kind of crazy D2C beauty is, because I don't really care about a lot of things, but it's really hard for me to order skincare, let alone color cosmetics, without trying it, even if you have the easiest return rate.
Yeah.
Or return policy. And so that's pretty hard. And then there's just so few people, relatively speaking, who can make it to New York or LA or London, or then one of the little pop-ups that they do to actually try stuff out. So especially because a lot of their fan base is going to be on like college campuses or small towns. They're going to be teenagers. They don't have a lot of money. They might not have cars. So it's like you need somewhere like Sephora. Maybe you even would have done well in like a Target or something where people can really, where people can really touch it and experience it themselves. I mean, I think there is something very cool about it being D2C and being able to really, those stores are beautiful and amazing and totally unique and make you feel the brand in an immersive way. And if you do go to Sephora, it is a little weird, right? Like, I don't know if you've gone, but it's just, oh, here's this Glossier gondola and it's next to like Ilia or whatever. And it's not even in the window, or it's like 5 rows down, and it just feels very, I don't know. It's like, oh, these are just products.
But I think a lot of us maybe in the chat, we're here for anyone who's listening to Fat Mascara is a super beauty enthusiast. Like, I think Glossier still feels really exciting for a lot of people. It still feels like an exciting brand. They don't necessarily know all the ins and outs of Emily Weiss and acquisition and all. Like, they don't care.
The London store, I saw it all over TikTok. People were like excited about the bubble bags again. I was like, oh yeah, remember the bubble bags?
I feel like the first 3 years of Glossier are still very inside baseball. Like, we're running on a different timeline.
Yeah, for sure. The example that I give in my book, I think, is one that you guys can relate to, which is I discovered MAC when I was in high school or college. It was over a decade after they were founded. They had already been sold. Like, I had no idea about their roots, their founding. I knew very little of their activism. I just knew that I was in Nordstrom and it totally spoke to me. And I was getting into kind of makeup for the first time in my life, and this brand felt totally part of like the identity that I wanted, and it felt different from what my mom was wearing. And I think Glossier still has like a lot of that potential, where you're just at a Sephora or whatever, and you're 15 years old and you're like, ooh.
Yeah, if you're having your like makeup awakening and this whole Glossier discourse was not even like on your radar because you were 12, or 11.
Yeah.
This is like you just woke up. So you're just walking into Sephora and to your point, you're just seeing all this stuff for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, people have told me, and I've known many people that are like, oh, I got to get my niece who's 14 a present. And it's like, oh, cool, I'm going to get her like a little Glossier set. And that's, I still think there's a lot of that too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my daughter needs like a cleanser and I don't want her to use my like Barbara Sturm cleanser or whatever. I'm going to get her this like cute one for herself.
Totally. Yeah.
So that's an easy one. So yeah, I think that there's a rebooting of Glossier kind of, and like an actual discovery of it, but whether or not that's actually going to work and have this hordes of new fans.
Yeah, what did she tell us? She wanted to be like the Nike of,
She said Nike. Yeah,
I think Nike of the world when she came on our podcast years ago. So we're definitely not at that point. So if she had her way.
I mean, well, now that they have a new CEO, Kyle Leahy, who is very like, oh, no, we know who we are now. We're just a beauty company. Like, we're no longer trying to be a tech company as well, or like.
If they got out of their own way and do beauty and do it well, you're going to have success.
Yeah. And so I think I think time, I mean, it's a boring answer, but like time will tell. For one, we don't have any figures, but also I think it's going to take a couple of years to see if this idea of the world more easily trying out Glossier products, and Glossier is in Sephora and it's landing in Sephora in Europe very soon. And, these are all, it's going to be like Italy for the first time via Sephora. Like these are all markets that have never tried it before. I know that I've gotten so many requests to be interviewed or to read the book from people in Australia who have never had. I think they're just a particularly skincare and makeup obsessed country, but there's no Glossier in Australia unless you're like bringing it in your suitcase home.
So I want to ask you a question from one of our listeners, Julissa, who wrote in before. She wanted to know, what is a personal life lesson that you've learned since reading the book?
Writing the book, yeah.
Since writing the book.
Like writing about Emily's journey. Like, what did you take away personally?
Yeah.
Honestly, it's made me think a lot about the real price of money. She took VC money, and there is a way of taking it and being like, wow, why not take all this money that's being offered to me? And it's very exciting, easy to get caught up with. But we've talked about it comes with such a high price of like, you don't have control. You have incredibly high expectations for what comes with that money. And I had a kind of a similar thing when I was reporting the book. If there was an opportunity to maybe buy an apartment, but it was coming with all of these strange financial sort of things that I wasn't comfortable with and felt overcommitted and ended up not taking it. And I think at least part of it was like somewhat influenced by like me thinking about strings attached and how even if something is something you could technically do, like maybe you shouldn't always take it. Like maybe you should think about what your life might have to be like in order to afford that apartment that you could technically then buy, or that company that could technically become 300-person company or whatever. Like, is that really...
Just because you can, does that mean
you
should?
It's like, or is it like, is that not even so much what you want, but is that gonna put you in the best place for success? Which is not to say that ambition or wanting big things is bad, but just to like take a beat. And it just really made me think about the hidden costs of things that we do. And that's why I buy nothing. And no, I like definitely am terrible with money and buy things and all of that. It's not to say that I changed my life or relationship to everything, but it did make me think, because I do think the trajectory of Glossier would be very different if they had taken less money or done other kinds of funding or bootstrapped.
I was talking to a founder today from another company, and she was just saying how much VC funding in the past like 5-10 years has really just, I'll say killed a lot of brands, but yeah, kind of just changed the beauty industry a lot and kind of crushed a lot of dreams as well. Well, while sort of raising them, crushing them. Yeah.
Well, exactly. Because it's like beauty becomes this, partly because of Glossier and like celebrity brands, beauty becomes this highly exciting, active market. And then the kinds of returns they want and the turnaround is
it's not realistic.
It's almost impossible. Yeah. I mean, my friend Claire and I used to have a joke of like, oh, what are the VCs taking away from us today? There was this app that should never exist that you could just like, they'd come and pick up your stuff and custom box it and ship it for you for like almost no money. It didn't last long. And it was like, yeah, of course the VCs were like, actually, that's untenable. But yeah, it's like they get to decide.
You also wrote about Jean Nidetch, the founder of Weight Watchers. I loved that book. This is big. You've written about Emily. Who else do you want to write about?
My next book is about Jane Birkin. So that'll be a little more fashion, but kind of in the way that girl bosses are like the kind of background and kind of cultural moment in Glossy. I think the creation of like the French girl myth and our obsession with that is kind of the background of the story of Jane Birkin. I love to like talk about a moment in time, whether it's like New York in the 60s for Weight Watchers or like the 2010s for Glossy. And I think Paris in the 70s is going to be very fun. But yeah, as someone who's a total Francophile and also has a very weird relationship with the idea of French girl stuff and how kind of fake
this is going to be great.
That person is. I'm very excited.
When you say weird, you mean you don't buy it, the myth of the French girl beauty.
I mean, I do and I don't. I think that it's the idea of the French girl is like we're talking about like 5 people or something like that. You know, it's like they're white people, they're rich. Like how many people?
They're Jane Birkin.
Like, it's like very fetishy, very
have like passed on.
Yeah, like, but how many beauty brands have we seen literally trying to like make sales based on this?
Exactly, which is why I think it's really interesting. And also if you go to Paris, like anywhere else, it's like, oh, this is a city not just of straight-haired, waifish white people, but like there are Black people and brown people and Muslim people and tons of Vietnamese. And it's like, oh, right, our idea of this society and country is based on such a sort of a weird construction that is no one, basically. I mean, even Jane Birkin is English. Like, she's not even French.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, I cannot wait. That sounds exciting.
Thank you.
I want to ask like 1 or 2 questions from the chat before we wrap.
People have been trying to call in, which I didn't even know was a function on this studio. Did you? I'm producing it as well. So I was like, oh God, no, don't pick up the phone. So I have been trying. Sorry, everybody. I hung up on.
You're live on Fat Mascara.
I don't think I could turn off that function. I wasn't ready to go there yet with our live podcast. This is an experiment.
Next time.
So if you got hung up on, I'm sorry.
People could say like long-time listener, first-time caller.
I know. You could do that on our hotline, 646-481-8182.
My chat is being a little funky. So Jen.
Yeah, no, same. Mine's like this chat, I will tell you, it's like each person's own chat. It's not time order for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's very weird.
Not in order, so I can't tell.
I'm going to use a different platform next time we do this.
I did see, hopefully everyone in the chat is not having the same funky experience I'm having. If you are, I deeply apologize. But it's our first ever Fat Mascara book club, so you're on the ride, folks. I did see some great lessons learned, though, from when I'm trying to like flip through this before it like bounces back. Somebody wrote what kind of boss they want to be and what kind of boss they don't want to be. Somebody wrote something about...
Was that a question or they're just...
The question... Oh, sorry. It's like Jeopardy. I wrote, what lessons did you learn from reading the book as opposed to Marisa writing the book? And they said, like, what kind of boss I want to be or don't want to be. Somebody was inspired by Emily's boldness and just, like, going for
her ability to ask for things.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was so ballsy, but when people ask me, I always, like, want to help someone out.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
She wasn't a jerk about it. It didn't seem like she ever asked for anything, too, that was, like...
No, and they were specific, which makes it easier for the giver.
Yeah.
Like, can you do this for me? Not like, help me become famous.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure you guys get things where people are like, I would like to know how to write a book. And it's like, okay.
Exactly. It's a good lesson though. Ask for something specific.
Yeah. Ask for an introduction to someone or like something that someone can do that's easy. And that's also, people ask me for things all the time that I don't have the authority for this. Like I can't assign a story. Like I could be your biggest fan, but I still don't have the power to like get you a New York Times story.
Do your research.
You know?
Yeah, I got that lesson.
People ask for like crazy things, but they do it, I think, also often out of like ignorance or like naivete, not ignorance. Yeah.
No, she did it with a bit of a note. Yeah, with a little bit precocious.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I also think she must have done research because she understood what she could ask people and what they could help her with, which, I think that's I think there's so much to be learned in that kind of assertive behavior.
While we try and poke through the questions, Jess had a great question for you. Can I ask Jess what?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Who do you think would play Emily Weiss in the Glossy movie?
Okay, well, I've been in the same room interviewing Zendaya, and I have to say they have kind of similar energies, IRL. And I think Zendaya has that kind of, she's cool, but also composed.
Low-key force.
Yeah, I think the problem is that so many of the issues that someone should talk about in a Glossy movie do involve race. And so colorblind casting would be kind of complicated.
Or awesome. Let's make it not a straight biopic. Let's do a little like something with
That's true. Yeah.
Well, I'll option your book, Marissa. I got this.
Please do. I don't know. Who did you guys think of?
Well, someone wrote Emma Watson, and I like that.
Oh, yeah. Because she has that kind of girl boss, overachiever, she went to Brown kind of energy.
That's a good one.
There's somebody else in my mind, and
I just think of Anne Hathaway playing the wife of the WeWork guy.
Yeah. I interviewed her.
Oh, I've got one. Okay. Mia Goth.
Oh, wow. They kind of look alike.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going on looks. Yeah.
No, but like just picture.
But also
like,
Mia Goth
steely.
is an amazing actress. There's nothing she can't do.
Can't you picture her just like completely just being...
I could see that, actually.
Yeah.
I could totally see that. Also, they do really kind of look like each other.
Yeah.
I would love to see some of our big stars. Like, I want to see Emma Stone do one of these kinds of characters, like a person in real life kind of thing. Jennifer Lawrence was going to do, Bad Blood. Kaya Gerber?
Somebody wrote Kaya Gerber.
I saw Bottoms. I need her to work on her acting a little bit before we cast her. No offense. She's
Kaya
beautiful.
Gerber can be like someone who's like doing a top shelf or something.
She'll do like store manager number 3. Yeah. It'll be great.
Yeah.
No, it'll be like a stunt casting.
She can play like Coco Bodell or one of their like key early models.
Yeah. We have a slightly easier question then. Yeah. Okay. We've got a couple answers here, but what about you, Marissa?
Yeah.
In the movie of your life, who would you want to play you?
Miss Piggy.
God, that's fabulous. But I don't know if I'm going to let that to be the answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see her wig already. It's great.
That's the thing. I feel like we're very similar in temperament, Miss Piggy and I. And like, I always kind of identified with her as like a fellow curly-haired blonde.
And who's fabulous. Great clothes.
Who doesn't have time for fools.
Big personalities.
No time for fools. Miss Piggy was so great. Wasn't she great?
She's the best. Do you have her like self-help beauty book?
No.
Should we get it?
You need to order. Yeah, you can get it used.
Who ghostwrote that?
Honestly, great question. I bought mine on eBay for like not very much. It's fabulous. It was published in like the 80s.
The 80s? Okay, I got to get into this.
I was about to say, like, I feel like Miss Piggy used to be such a big part of my life, like when I was younger. And then I was like, she went away. I think they did a lot more with her back then, right?
Yeah, although she has a very active Instagram page.
All right, I'll check it out. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me of what I lost.
Is Joan falling asleep? I feel like I hear Joan snoring.
I heard that too.
We should wrap it up.
Joan is kind of always snoring. The other thing is Joan.
Sorry.
No, just
Joan.
Joan.
No, Joan, like Joan Collins or whatever.
Is Yeah, like having Joan is sort of like having Miss Piggy. We're sort of both Miss Piggy, but it's also like having Miss Piggy as your pet.
Oh, wow. No wonder you guys are tight. Okay, we're going to wrap it up with the Fat Mascara 5.
Okay.
Everyone can play along in the comments if they choose. Ready?
Okay. Yep.
Quick and dirty, lightning round. First beauty product you fell in love with.
Clinique City Block.
Oh. No wonder your skin looks so good.
I know my mom is an esthetician.
Oh, okay. Explains it. Okay. Where do you write? Tell us about your writing desk.
I actually don't have a desk, but I have all kinds of perches that I write. I almost always write at home. I don't like to write at cafes, and I write at a kitchen table, a counter, a sofa, a chair, just depending. Like I kind of rotate around during the day.
Not precious about it.
If you're at the counter, are you standing? Like you're standing, you're writing your book at the counter?
I'm at like a stool.
Okay.
Drinking coffee.
I just want to say that one of the people in the chat has the most amazing like screen name, Milky Jelly Skeptical. The chat is so messed up, by the way, but I did catch that.
Mine froze literally 3 hours ago, I think. Well, we've only been doing this an hour, but...
Again, once more, apologies for the chat. We will improve next time, but I want to thank...
The studio is going to make for great sound on the podcast that will be out in 2 weeks. So when, everybody else who can listen to it will have a beautiful sound, even if they didn't get to see the funky chat.
They can put it all in the Instagram post in the chat
there you go.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Next time it'll be better, but thank you, Jen and Red, for working it out.
Okay. We still have 3 more questions.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. What's your favorite indulgent snack? Indulgent.
If I'm anywhere near a farmer's market, I've gone out of taken taxis in foreign countries to go to a farmer's market to buy kettle corn.
Okay.
I love a farmer's market kettle corn. It has a very specific thing. And I also... This is not indulgent because I probably drink it every day, but there's a very specific time, especially when I travel, where I feel like I'm going to die if I don't have a Coke Zero or a Diet Coke on ice with a straw.
This is why we're friends with you.
Yeah.
just one time? You just have one time?
It's been a daily occurrence here at Fat Mascara, but okay.
No, it's daily, but it's it gets very desperate. The harder it is for me to get to the Coke Zero, the more desperately I feel like I'm going to perish if I don't have it. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. I get it. Okay, what's your favorite nonfiction book or just one that you've read lately that you've loved?
Nonfiction book. I am starting Elvis and Me, the Priscilla Presley book.
Cool.
I don't think I'm going to finish it before I see the Priscilla movie, but I love any kind of juicy celebrity memoir. I love to listen to them on audiobook, read by the person.
Cool. And then finally, give us a fiction book that you love. We want to hear a good story. We want something to read for the cooler weather.
I mean, my favorite book, especially for fall, is The Secret History is an all-time favorite. Donna Tartt's classic. And about college students. I love any
Aren't you teaching a class on this?
Yeah, I am, because it's my favorite book. Yeah, for McNally.
That's so cool.
And that is any kind of campus set novel I love. I also absolutely love all of Tana French, who is an Irish novelist, has this kind of series of very smart literary detective-ish novels. And they're so good. Each of them is they come out once every 2 years, and it's my ultimate exciting treat.
Yes.
The PR person was please stop asking. We will get you a galley when they're available. We've registered your interest.
We've registered your interest. Yeah. I'm going to start saying that. Yeah. I've registered your interest.
Yeah, because I tried the PR person, then I tried another PR person just in case.
I've registered your interest.
They were
That's my new line. Jen, don't steal it.
Yeah,
that's my
they
new
were
line.
basically we are on to you. Yeah, so they were we have registered your interest.
To all the callers that were trying to call in, we've registered your
I've
interest.
Registered. That's very 1940 Britain. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it would also be good for anyone doing online dating. I've registered your interest.
Yeah, noted. Thank you to our audience who was here. That was super fun. But more so, thank you to you, Marisa. This was such a delight. The book is amazing.
Great.
If you haven't gotten it yet, Glossy, Ambition, Beauty, and the Inside Story of Emily Weiss's Glossier by Marisa Meltzer. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Oh, it was my absolute pleasure. It was so much fun.
We hope you enjoyed the show.
It's your reviews and feedback that help us make the podcast even better. Head over to iTunes to rate and review us, or email your thoughts to info@fatmascara.com.
We also want to answer your beauty questions and hear what products you love. To share a Razor One product review or to ask a beauty question, email us at info@fatmascara.
If you send it as a voice memo file, we can even share your voice on the podcast. You can also do that by leaving us a voice message. Our phone number in the United States is 646-481-8182.
Thanks so much for listening.